Welcome to CIA Declassified. This is one episode in a critical five-part series covering the full breadth of declassified files on subprojects within the broader Project Stargate initiative. Before we delve into this core theoretical file, it is imperative that you have already listened to the operational outcomes that followed this research. For full context, you must listen to the following 5 episodes: CIA Declassified Gateway Process, CIA Declassified Reality is a Simulacrum, and then Gateway Process in parentheses, CIA Declassified Project Sunstreak, CIA Declassified Project Stargate, and my personal favorite, CIA Declassified The Psychotic Fringe, Tea, Glow, and the Tragic End of the Psychic Cold War. If you're caught up, you know the shocking results. This episode explains the why. Project Centerline wasn't about operatives or targets, it was about defining consciousness itself, a requirement for the agency to even consider remote viewing as a viable intelligence asset in the Cold War. Project Centerline emerged from a high-level academic military collaboration that began in the mid-1970s. The intelligence community was panicked by rumors of massive Soviet investments in psychotronics, a field the Soviets claimed could lead to direct mental influence and remote spying. The U.S. response was not to mock the effort, but to find a scientific basis to catch up. They needed to move the conversation from mysticism and pseudoscience to quantifiable, measurable physics. This breakthrough is documented in the foundational file, CIA RDP 96 007 88R 0017 002 00001-9, titled Initial Theoretical Assessment of Human Consciousness and Remote Perception, dated 1977. This highly influential document fundamentally dismisses the traditional neurological view that the brain produces consciousness. Instead, it proposes that consciousness is a fundamental, non-local energy field, arguing against materialism entirely. This is a quote from that same document. The human brain operates not as the generator of consciousness, but as a highly complex receiving and filtering mechanism. The true source of human awareness is a non-physical, external, electromagnetic field. This field is not constrained by the linear perception of space and time familiar to the physical senses. End quote. This concept that the physical brain is merely an antenna tuning into a universal informational signal was the explosive intellectual premise of the entire program. If the brain is just a receiver, then the signal, consciousness, exists independently of the body and could theoretically be tuned to any channel. If consciousness is an independent energy field, how does it gather intelligence remotely? The answer is rooted in quantum mechanics, specifically the concept of informational equivalence. Detailed in the follow-up document, CIA RDP 96 007 88R 0017 002 00002-7, titled Biophysical Field Theory and Non-Local Information Acquisition, end quote. This document introduced the theory that reality, at its most fundamental level, behaves like a hologram. In a holographic universe, information about the whole is contained in every single part. Therefore, accessing one point of reality grants potential access to all points. The consciousness field, being non-local, can exploit the equivalence. Quote from that second document, due to the inherent wave nature of reality, all points in space-time are informationally equivalent. A properly focused and energetically prepared consciousness may achieve non-local access to data that is physically unattainable by conventional means. This capability is theorized to manifest as accurate, remote perception of distant geographical and temporal targets. This is the key. Project Centerline concluded that information is not transmitted from a foreign target to the viewer. Rather, the viewer's consciousness is simply accessing the information already present in the universal holographic field. If a Soviet missile silo is built in Siberia, the information about the silo is physically everywhere at all times. It's just a matter of changing your frequency to perceive it. The theoretical foundation of Centerline provided the mandate for the next phase of research: training. The agency needed a practical method to disrupt the brain's filtering mechanism and amplify its receiving power. They identified that normal waking consciousness operates primarily in the beta brainwave state. To achieve non-local access, subjects would need to transition into the deeper, more receptive theta or delta states. The files transition from pure mathematics into neurobiology and psychology, laying out the need for specific structured training to alter the subject's brainwaves. The techniques involved synchronized audio frequencies and mental conditioning, a process that would later become formalized and intensified under Project Gateway. Project Centerline provided the philosophical and scientific license for the U.S. intelligence community to proceed with the next step: training. They now believe that to gather intelligence remotely, they simply had to teach operatives how to shift their own consciousness frequency away from the noise of the physical world and into the universal information stream. Psychic spying was thus reclassified from magic to an advanced form of information science. We have established the universe as a sea of information and the mind as an antenna. Now that we understand the theory, we must learn how the military attempted to manipulate that antenna. Next time, we move into the program that gave the CIA its most unbelievable philosophical foundation. Episode CIA Declassified: Reality is a Simulacrum, Gateway Process. This is the second episode ever published for this podcast. This is where the CIA begins the systematic training of operatives using audio and neurological techniques to teach them how to induce out-of-body experiences for intelligence gathering. It analyzes the debriefing logs from the program, details the stunning conclusions that led the agency to officially state that reality is a holographic simulacrum. This episode is a critical next step in this 5-part series if you haven't already paid attention and listened to that one. In the meantime, look to the shadows, question your memories, and be rational. I'll see you in the archives.